Good afternoon, and welcome to my webinar. My name is Anthony LaRose, and I work in the UK licensing team. Today's webinar is based on bringing paper forms and onto an iPad, so paper to iPad. Before I go on, I just wanted to first of all check that you can all see my screen and you can hear me loud and clear. On your control panel, there is a questions tab. If you could just type in there, if you can hear me loud and clear and see, that would be great. Any questions you have during this webinar, feel free to put them in there, and I will try and address them at the end. Great, here we go. So a few people, everyone can hear me, which is always good. The basis of this webinar today is taking a paper to iPad in the case of this form here. It's a form that was given to me, and it's basically a well-known adventure group that deal with have sort of groups for children aged between sort of 4 and 16, and boys and girls, and they give this to everyone who wants to attend this one. This is 12th Windsor Adventure Pioneers Inquiry Form, and it's just to get the information on the child, parents, any illnesses that they need to be aware of, and then agreeing the terms of the policy. So what they were finding is that they've got lots of pushing paper around, and they're not able to do any reporting on this unless they pay someone to import or type all this information into one place. So what I'm going to do is show you how using FileMaker as the tool, it would be a huge benefit. So first of all, we just open up FileMaker and we just go File, New Database. We're going to call it Windsor Group. Save it on the desktop. I'm going to create a new layout for this, and I'm going to call it iPad. I click, it's a touch device, an iPad or iPad mini. It's a form. It's going to be landscape. I'm going to finish that. What that does is just creates your layout. You see there's a guideline there, so you know what you've got to work within. So here we go. So I've got my field picker here. If that doesn't come up when you open it up for using the trial, or you can just click on field picker and it brings that up. This is where you create the fields that you want to put onto your layout. So first of all, we've got a logo. Here we go. Got my logo on my desktop, just going to drag and drop that onto our layout. Once that's on our layout, I can just minimize that. There we go, put that in the corner there. If I want to write text on my layout, you just click on the text button here, and you can create a rectangle area where you're going to type the words in, and we can call it 12 Windsor Adventure Inquiry Form. There we go, and I can just move this anywhere I want to. Oh, spelt that right. Typing error there. So I can move this wherever I want, put it in the corner there, make it a little bit smaller so the box just fits in the top right hand corner. There we go. So I now want to start creating some of these fields. So we've got data inquiry, full name of child. So this is where we just literally click on the field name there, add new field. We're going to call it date of inquiry. This is where we can pick the type of field. So in this case, it's going to be a date. If you pick that type of format at the start, it means that it works a lot better down the line. So if it's a case, it's a number field, pick a number. So if you're on an iPad or an iPhone, it will just come up with a number keyboard then. So if you then go new field, so name, let's put full name in there. and that's going to be a text field. So what I want to do is bring a couple of fields over to my layout. So I can highlight both of them and bring them across. I could bring them across with some drag options. I want them to be in a line, and I want the field name to be on the top. And if I bring that across to my layout, then just drop those on, you can see now that's gone. Instead of just slightly overlapping there, you can click on both of them, use the cursor just to give yourself a bit more space, and then with the field there, just make that a little bit longer. So if I exit my layout now, you can see how that works. If you were to create a new record, you can then start populating it. But something I want to do with the date field is as soon as someone fills in this form, I don't want them to have to write on the or type on the date, say date of inquiry. I might as well just say stamp that as soon as they've done it. So I can go File, Manage Database. This comes to where all our fields are that we've created so far. We click on date of inquiry. We make sure it's a date field here. We go Options. Once you bring this up, it says automatically enter the following data from this field. So we want the date to be on creation of a new record, use the date. And save that, exit that. So now if I do my new record, you can see that comes up with a date, and I can just put the name in, so on. So and again, if you do a new record, same date. So it just makes it easier for people to be able to, things with paper forms, someone might put the format in a different format to what someone else is putting it in, and all these forms will be done for each group and each town, and this could be 100 different pioneer groups all using a different format to put their dates in, but you can push this to make sure they put it in the date in correctly. So what I want to do now is going to start creating some of these other fields to manage the other parts of the data. One tool that I like using is tab control. I'll show you why this is really useful. So I'm going to click on the tab control and put it over my area. I can use this real estate of a number of times. So in this case, I'm going to have on the first one, I'm going to have it as child details. Create that, and then we're going to do the thing they've got down here, young person health. Young person health. Create, and the last one was statement of policy, which is, here we go, there, just a policy of what they're agreeing to with the child joining the adventure group. So now once I've created these and I OK it, you can see that we get the tabs across our solution. So you could have this field right across with lots of other information long term. So now we've got our child details. Goes back to my form, and I just want to put in here, we're going to do date of birth. So we're going to do some new fields now. So we can go date of birth. That's going to be our date field again. Next one's going to be gender. That's going to be a text field. And we're going to go school, year. So again, we want to do that as a number field. And then we're going to do, name of parent. I'll just call it parent name. And that's going to be a text. And we're going to do address, phone, and an email. Phone we're going to do as a number, phone, email. I think we've got most of those. So now I want to start dragging those fields over to my layout. So in this case, I do those, and I'm going to drag them over with the field name to the left, and I'm going to do them one on top of each other. So now I want to bring that over to my layout. Move that over to the corner there. With some of these, I say, well, actually, I want to make that just match up to the same size. So see, there's dynamic guidelines there. Come up, show me the blue line to say that's the correct, the same size now. There you go, and just move those over. There we go. I may want to say, well, actually, I need a few lines for the address. So let's click on these fields. And then if you click on all four and then just use the cursor, oh, there you go, let's move that back. And just click on that. I highlighted the background of the actual tab controls to move that down to the bottom. And now when I click on my address field, I can now make that a little bit bigger to put, so I've got a few lines. There's another thing I want to do as well that they can't do on this paper form is have a photo. So I'm going to create a new field. I'm going to call it picture. So we want a picture of the child. And this is where we can say it's a container field. And bring that across with the label to the top and bring that over to our layout here, and I can just make that field a little bit bigger like so. There we go. So that's so starting to look like a proper database now, but what I want to do is make sure that some of these fields are really easy for people to put data in again. So let's move our tab control a bit further up. There we go. So again, date of birth. We click on there. If you click on the inspector tool, where has he gone? So on my other layout, bring that across. Here he is. The inspector tool allows you to pick the field and what displaying in that field, and it allows you to change the way that field works. So we can say here, well, actually, we want a drop-down calendar for date of birth, and we want to include an icon. Just makes it look like everyone can press on it or click on it if they're on a desktop or Mac PC or web browser. You can click on it. With the gender, we want to, where someone put male, female, boy, girl, B, or you can have lots of different people putting in different information in there. So what I want to do is push people to put in a certain way. So we can actually do a radio button. Radio buttons are great because if you've got a yes/no answer, radio buttons allow you to put one or the other in, not both. We can create a list for that radio button. So we're going to call it gender. And this is where we can do it, boy, girl. So once I OK that and OK that, we now have got our radio buttons that we can then use. You can make this a little bit bigger just by clicking on the thing here and then say, well, actually, I want that to be just a slight bigger, being 18, there you go. So now, so if I exit my layout, I can come in and say, well, actually, here we go, Aunt LaRose, her date of birth. If we go back years, click on that, and it's a boy, and so on. So you can start to get a grip. So when I later on, I've got a iPad simulation tool. I'll show you how it works really well on the iPad. So again, with year, just say edit this. We're going to go back in and say inspector tool, Windsor Group year. We're going to do a drop down list. We're going to include an arrow to show there's a list there. We're going to allow editing of the list, and we're going to create a new list called school year. So what you're actually doing is creating lots of different drop-down lists to say we did all the way up to 11 or something like that, and okay that. So now when we go to our school year, we can just pick it straight away. We'll say, well, actually, it's not there. Edit, go to the screen and say, well, actually, I need a 10 and 11, and then come back and then exit. And I say, here we go. Year 11 school, and you could do that for the school as well. So if it's pre-populated data, so if you know the data that it might only be 20 things, or it could be a large list, you can import that list in as an Excel file and have it as the drop-down list. So that's some of that. With the with the picture. This is a container field. I'll show you how we can take the picture on the iPad in a minute. So that's our sort of first page of our solution done. So now we want to go to the young person's health. So here we have a number of fields, current general health and dietary needs. So we're going to go back to our edit layout. Always have to be in layout mode when you're creating the fields. And then we're going to call it current health. This is going to be a text field, and the next one we're going to do dietary needs. And then we've also got the next one, which is that's a text, and the next one's going to be conditions. And so now we can go to our layout, take our 3 fields, bring them across with a field name to the top, and we're going to bring that across like so. So once that's there, I can then click on, out of that, click on these 2. I'm just going to bring these down slightly because I want to make this field actually be able to someone put a few bits of detail in there, maybe just a couple of lines. So now with dietary needs, we want to, again, we could use a drop-down list to say, here's go dietary needs. I've actually got some of them here. Where is it? I can just copy and paste. So we got vegan, vegetarian, celiac, nut allergy, and then we can click on our list. We could do a drop-down list. Again, we could do see this. You could pick the list from here. So if they're not in there, you can create one. We can say dietary needs, and I can just copy and paste those in. So and as long as they're on separate lines, that will work. Okay, that. So now if we exit that, you can see when we go to our young person health, we've got a drop down. I didn't put the arrow there, so if we go back, remember, click on there, just make sure include an arrow, but also allow editing. So when you go in there, you can say exit, which saves it. We go to our young person's health, and you can see that you can add those in. So with the conditions, I'm going to show you something slightly different to use, which is another tool. So if you click on condition field, the next one we're going to do is checkbox. So with checkboxes, they allow you to click on a number of them, whereas a radio button, one or the other. A checkbox allows you to, like tick and many of them. So in this case, we've got allergies, autism, asthma, all these different things that someone might have, one of the boys or girls that go to the adventure group. But the solution should be able to report on saying how many people do we have with eczema or epilepsy, if we're going to have a school, if we have a party or a disco with lights or whatever. We need to be able to find these people. So with this one, with the checkbox, we can do a new list, which we're going to call checkbox new list, and we're going to call it conditions. I think after this webinar, you're going to understand all the different drop-down lists and everything you can use. This way, we've got all of them here, and I'm just going to copy and paste from here. You don't want to see me type all this in. There's a couple on the different lines, one there, one there, one there. So now if I OK that, it's now populated our all our conditions in the field set. So if I pull this out to be bigger, here we go, make that what's on the line. I can then change the font size and say, actually, I want it just a little bit bigger on that. Here we go. So if I exit that now and go to our young persons, and you can see now why this can be really quick. On the form, they've literally got that. So is it the parents can either tick it or cross it, and if it's a cross was in the left or the right, which one are they doing? So you can, there's lots of errors with paper forms and on what when you're filling in this type of thing, and it's quite serious. So this way you can actually say, well, all these people, we've got 2, and then you can see that you could do a search and say, find me anyone that has dyslexia, and then there you go. So it's come up with both the two, the one which was Anthony. Show all data. So showing you the power of being able to search on those type of fields as well. Next one, we have our statement of policy. Where is this? So here, so they want everyone to agree to this. So what we can do is we go into layout, and we go to on here. We're going to do some some text. Oh, there we go. Let's exit that layout there. Why's that gone yellow? What I've done to that? I don't even know why I've done that. So we now want to edit the layout. Let's get rid of that one. So we want to put some text on here now. We're going to drag the area, get the gist of what we're doing. This is where we're going to put our text within, and this is all our statement of policy details that we want the person to read. This could be on the web browser. I'll show you. So it could be a parent filling this in on a browser, or it could be someone just doing it literally on the iPad as their child is attending the session. We can then click on the font size again, bring that back up, make this a little bit bigger. So we're going to bring it up to 18. There you go, it's readable for everyone then. There we go. So we can now create another field. We can say agree policy. And we can say agreed by. And we OK that. So we're going to bring these both over with left to right, and bring that and that over to our layout. There we go. So if I exit that now, go back to our statement. So we have our agreed policy. So with this one, I'm going to slightly change this. I'm going to put a radio button in there. So in this case, we're going to go to radio button. We're going to go, there isn't a yes/no list, so we're just going to create a new list. And again, we just type them in. OK that, OK that. So that's given us our yes/no. Put that on the same line. We can then just make that slightly bigger, just to make it easier for the fingers to hit. Move that slightly up, and then the agree by. You could have this as a signature capture show. So if I agreed by, change that to a container field, and here we go. So this would work on the iPad, but it wouldn't work on the browser. So you could have agree by signature, say there, and then you could have a new name. There we go. So agreed name underneath. So we're going to go to text, bring that over and underneath here, like that. Maybe just make this longer so it matches that. So now we can exit that, and here we go. So here's our solution. So it's agreed by Daddy LaRose. So here we go. So we're now 24 minutes in, and I've taken our paper form, which is very time consuming in filling out, and also managing if they've got thousands of these pieces of paper filed somewhere, and they're trying to find information on these children, and with a click of a button they just can't do it. So just showing you the power of getting it into FileMaker and being able to what I'm going to show you now is how to share that, so you can have multiple people accessing that at the same time. So what we do to open this up to be shared, we go to File, Manage, Database. So we just need to, File, Manage, Security, and we just need to open up the privileges on this solution. So FileMaker WebDirect is our tool where you can access the database through a browser. So I'm going to enable that. And also FileMaker Network, I'm going to open that up. So that's other PCs, Macs, and iPads. Allow. So it's going to now I want to share it. I go share, upload to FileMaker server. So I'm not going to show you how to install the server today. If you need any help in doing that, please contact our support team. There's a free trial for the server, so you can do everything I'm doing today. You'll be able to do and test with the trial. So I go to my server. I'm just going to log in now. There we go. Next. Have you done that right? That's it. Upload that. Done. So now I've got my FileMaker Pro license opening it here. I'm just going to get rid of this form off the screen now. We also have the iPad. So if you've got any iOS devices, iPads, iPhone, iPod Touch, go and download the app FileMaker Go, which is free from the App Store. I've got it here on mine. So click on that. So I've already got the server set up as my favorite. And I've got the server's name, Paper to iPad. And I'm just going to find my file. There's my one at the bottom, Windsor Group. And there you go. I'm in my, I'm just going to turn it around that way to portrait. Put it in the bottom corner down there. So that's our you can see all the data share. So that's me. I'm sharing it already. So I've created the database. I'm now sharing it with multiple users. I want to show you now is how to access it on a browser. So if you've got Google Chrome, so latest versions of Internet Explorer and Safari, then you'll be able to access the file. We go to a server, which is just the name of the file itself, where the server's hosted. There's our Windsor group. And I'm now in on a browser. So now, if I'll try and put this over here so you can see all three at the same time. So if I was to change my record now and say, well, actually, just change that surname, got the surname wrong, on this device, you can now see that as soon as I click out, all three of my devices are now changing. So that's showing you the power of sharing FileMaker as a database. Try doing that on a form. How long will it take them to go and find that form and get that form out and change it? And I probably bet they'd ask the form to be done again. So I mean that's changed. So if you said on the here on the browser, I'd say, well, like, okay, boy, as soon as I click out of there. Click on that one. That should update onto the other devices. Let's refresh it. There we go. So that's updated. And then if I was on the iPad and I went to say go do the year, you see there, because we created it as a number field, it just comes up with the numbers, and we say, oh, okay, that's 11. Or we could just go in and just use the drop down list and then include that. There we go. So that's sharing it there. So we now have the ability on our iPad to say, well, actually, we take a picture of the boys just coming along to the group. We can say, go to the camera. And here we go. It's going to be live, taking a picture of me doing the webinar. There we go. Going to use the photo. And we're in. It could be that... well, now click out. You can now see that both those devices are sharing across my my shared copy. If I go to another record, so say we go to record 2, and we say, well, actually, I've been given a picture. I'd say, well, actually, I can just drag and drop that into our field. Once I click out of that, that populates across the two as well. So you can have someone in the office adding a photo. You can have someone on the front where the kids are coming in on every hour to just taking a photo, updating the records and so on. So that's the sort of sharing capabilities there. And then on the last one here, we've got our policy. Let's go to statement of policy. Let's move this up to the top corner so I can get this all on the same machine. I'll be able to so in this case, we've got agreed by. You can actually on the iPad use the signature capture for the parent, and then as soon as I click out on that, you can then see that that is then updated across the three devices there, and then they can just put in the name underneath. Click that out, you can see, and it's just the power of sharing data, is that you're constantly not inputting the data again and again and again. That's now stored, it's usable, shareable over the network. I think that's the end of my the actual demo part today. Before I do that, I just wanted to just edit my layout, and because I've done so well today with my solution build, I'm going to give myself a badge to sew on my arm. So here we go. I'm going to put it onto here, onto the layout, and just make that a little bit smaller. Here we go. So there's my FileMaker development badge for being such a good boy and developing such a great solution within 31 minutes. And you can see now that the badge is updated across all three. I'm going to ask my mum to sew that on my shoulder for me. Next steps, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to send you over this URL on the chat window within your GoToMeetings. So this is going to show you how easy you can get in. So if you've got a compatible browser now, if you were to click on that URL I've just chatted over, it should allow you to come straight into the file that I've created. So that's someone creating it, sharing it, sending it out. You don't have to install anything on your desktops. They can access that. So that's all done through the server, and that's a technology called WebDirect. So go in. This is going to be available for a couple of days on the server. So if you get anyone you think, well, that could be useful to go in and say, look, this is what we can do. This is how we can create our fields. You can have a play around with it, add some more fields. This is just demo data. So come on. Is anyone